I had the perfect life. Then I woke up and found my fiancé married to another man. And my son doesn't even know who I am. Everything has changed, including me. One touch, and I can see things. Things that happened. Things that will happen. You should see what I see when things start to happen and they're happening. I happen to see them. A pilot podcast.
Did I do better on the soundboard this time?
You did okay.
Okay, thank you.
Trying to teach Frani how to use the soundboard.
I'm trying. Hi, guys. We're a pilot podcast.
That we are. And who's with us right now? Who else is here in the void?
The dogs.
Yeah.
Who?
Does Raven of That's So Raven have a catchphrase of some kind? Oh, isn't it like "ya nasty" or some shit?
That's one of
Yeah,
them.
literally, it's you nasty.
Ya nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyway, so we're a pilot podcast, and basically what we do is we watch pilot episodes of TV shows, and based on our review of these pilot episodes, we tell you whether we think the show is worth it or not. So if you don't want to get spoiled for even the pilot of these shows, just a heads up, we do spoil the pilot right away. And then occasionally we'll continue talking about the show, and we'll leave that timestamped in a spoiler section. So that way you can avoid us going further into the show and spoiling things for you. I know that That's So Raven's arc is the most epic of anime arcs there is.
I was about to say, who's really worried about That's So Raven spoilers in 2021?
I don't know, man. Some people are trying to visit a different time, and I feel like That's So Raven is really just like a moment in time.
Definitely.
Well, there is a sequel series, so just be careful.
That's true.
Oh, yeah, true. Well, I'm Frani. We didn't say who we are. We're bad at that.
I mean, I kind of did. I'm CL/Cody.
You whispered it from the void.
Because that's who was in the void, the telephone.
I'm John Smith. Just kidding.
Johnny.
I am Logan.
Daddy?
Daddy.
Dad.
I'm Daddy. Oh my gosh. Well, first off, before we even get into it, if you guys haven't listened to our Cowboy Bebop episode, go listen to it, because I feel like it's been grossly underwatched.
Holy shit. Yeah, that was a good episode.
The content and how good it was.
And how good Cowboy Bebop is.
And how the other one has a certain thing about it too that
How
is
the other
maybe
one was
positive or negative.
There? Yeah, find out.
Yeah. Anyway. So Cody, do you want to go ahead and get to the Wikipedia of That's So Braven?
Of course I do. That's So Raven is an American sitcom that originally ran on Disney Channel from January 2003 to November 2007. Set in San Francisco, the series stars American actress Raven Simone as Raven Baxter, a teenager with psychic abilities who draws on her ingenuity, talent as a fashion designer, and a variety of disguises to get in and out of amusing adolescent and pre-adolescent situations. That's it. Ran 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Cool.
And she's a psychic, which is like the big pull of the show. I know Christians, sorry, this seems very blunt to go off the top here, but I feel like I've always heard like religious people get upset over things like Harry Potter and Wizards of Waverly Place. Is there a special place for Facebook moms to get upset about That's So Raven, or did that always fly under the radar?
I don't think so.
Because it is about psychic shit, right? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I remember my mom saying that's not real, but it was never like I will burn you at the stake for being a fashion designer. You can't go to NYU. It was never that way, but.
Wow. So yeah, I honestly was, when I was watching it, I was thinking like, I wonder if there was any of that, because this episode, especially like the pilot episode, is really fucking innocent. Like, it's very wholesome.
Yeah.
You know, the parents are wholesome. The storyline is like nothing too insane.
The lessons are good.
Yeah. You know, and it's like it's got a good comedy to it. I think like Raven Simone's clearly like a natural with improvisation, and you know, she's naturally funny. She's got like an element about her that like is engaging and super entertaining. She like obviously carries the show. I mean, it's built around her for a reason.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Did you know
go
that
ahead.
Raven actually tried out for Chelsea? She wasn't even supposed to be the title character.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
That's crazy that Chelsea wasn't in the pilot.
No.
And you could feel her missing. I will say that.
Well, not me really, because I hadn't seen very much of it.
Yeah.
I've seen the Halloween episode, and then I had an ex-girlfriend who I got like from whatever reason I got like some of her like old CDs through some means, and we have That's So Raven 2 soundtrack, and I've listened to some of the songs on there. And
Wait, we currently have this?
Mhm.
Wow. We need to put that in the car.
no, we don't.
Yes, we do.
It's not
Where
very good.
where have you been hiding it?
We have convicted scary man Orlando Brown singing on the track, as well as rapping in the theme song.
Oh wow.
What do you guys think about Orlando Brown now? Like, just like not even to get into the episode yet, but you guys have heard about that guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
he's-
just I don't really know any details. Just the
I-
fact that he's not a good dude.
I think like he was like saying some fucked up shit about Raven Simone, and apparently did some fucked up shit on the
yeah,
set.
he's definitely not in the new show, right?
No, I don't think so.
No, not at all.
But
He
instead
was
of
actually like busted for drugs, I think, not that long ago. So
Mhm.
I feel kind of bad because I'm like, oh, like you had so much potential, and then I'm like, oh, okay,
But-
you're also kind of an asshole. So
he's so disliked that the new Proud Family show, he used to play Sticky. The character
Mhm.
will still exist, but will not be played by Orlando Brown, even though they're bringing back every other person.
Oh wow,
That's
there's
amazing.
I didn't know there was a new Proud Family show.
Mhm.
Guys, let us know if you want us to do it.
Yeah,
Logan
we'll-
has Proud Family trauma.
We'll resubscribe. It would be a really good episode. We'll resubscribe to Disney Plus then.
Yeah.
Franny's like, we don't need this. As soon as we get rid of it, she's like, let's do a bunch of Disney shows.
Fuck.
I'm like, what are you
You
doing?
always want it when you don't have it, you
Yeah.
know? When you have Disney Plus, you don't fucking use it, but
But the moment you don't have it,
Yeah,
you're like,
really.
wait.
Literally.
I want to watch the Proud
I swear to
Family.
God, that's everybody's Disney Plus experience.
Yeah,
Disney Plus, not a
No.
sponsor.
definitely
not
not.
at all.
Which, by the way, if you want to watch the show, obviously on Disney Plus, or you can watch the episodes on YouTube for 99 cents.
Yeah, right fucking here on our own platform.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to YouTube. Yeah. Okay. So the episode basically is around Raven like mouthing off to her teacher for basically bullying the students, which we've all had a teacher who's an asshole like that.
But it's so funny because she has a vision, like right before she decides to do it, that like all the students are going to be on her side. So then she decides to do it. Like she has a vision of her like standing in a crowd and everybody's like clapping her, like cheering her on, telling her she did such a good job, standing up to him.
Did she really get Mr. Percelli to quit teaching there?
I don't know.
Is that the canon of the show?
I don't know.
I can't say that teachers are exactly like a mainstay. Like I feel like there's always like a revolving door of teachers.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, definitely. I feel like the established like areas in the show, I don't know what it eventually becomes, but in this pilot, nothing felt like it was a certain set,
Correct.
but all of it looked really shitty.
Yes. That stays
Like-
consistent. I mean, definitely throughout the first season. It's 2003 too.
Yeah, well, you know, I just want to point out the fact that like it never feels like I'm in like, you know, like all these shows have their like certain areas, you know, you have Friends with the apartment or the coffee shop, you have Wizards of Waverly Place with that weird fucking dungeon in the middle of San Diego that their claim is New York. There's like always like a setting, and I didn't really get the setting from this. Maybe it's like the house or the school. But it didn't feel like anything was grounded at all. Which this isn't really like a critique. I just thought it was interesting that it's such a prolific show and it felt kind of loose in this episode. Like it didn't feel real complete.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I will say, as it goes on, you learn that it's San Francisco. Like there's like the iconic houses in the row, and there's like the cable cars. So you get like a little bit more as it goes on. But it's kind of jarring to watch the pilot because I agree with you that there's like no real homey feel. Nothing feels permanent, even though that is the permanent set. Like I don't think anything really changes.
Yeah, it feels like you could be in Connecticut or Barbados. There's like no fucking like there's nothing tying it. But then again, it is a pilot episode, so that's something that I consider. especially since like the most important thing for me with like a Disney Channel show is like it has to be entertaining and it should be funny. And I feel like this was pretty fucking funny.
Yes.
Like the whole time was actually pretty funny.
It's top tier Disney.
Like when she walks up to that one dude, she's like, "I'm coming back for you later," and she like butt smacks him and shit. I was like, "Oh my god, this is so good." Or when she's doing like her Cabbage Patch shit, and like that was improvised. Like you can tell, what Raven Simone's probably very high ass decided to do on set that day.
Yeah, how old was she when this Raven?
She was like nearly manic, but in a good way. Like you know what I mean? Like she was fucking crazy, but in like the best way possible.
I will say that I find the humor in this very interesting because we've watched other Disney shows on the channel. Like we've watched Wizards of Waverly Place and we've watched Hannah Montana, but there's actually some like stuff for the adults here. Like not all of it is very kid centric. There's a line where Orlando Brown's character, I forget his name. It's
Eddie, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it is, Eddie. And Eddie wants to stay by his locker because they like looking at ass at the water fountain when they bend over.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not something that would be in a Disney Channel show right now.
And they say like booty and stuff.
I'm a little annoyed that they call these people high schoolers because these clearly look like college-age kids.
Well, actually, she was only 18.
College-age kid?
I know, but I thought she would have been older than 18 in this.
No, I mean, like, she totally passes.
She's a
like
great actress.
A senior in high school or a freshman in college. But the issue is she's a freshman in high school, right? Isn't that something that was said? Or like a sophomore in high school or something?
Yeah, because they definitely follow her for a couple years.
Like, you got those kind of tits in high school, dude. I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying. It's not a matter of admiration. It was just a matter of like.
I definitely noticed that she had a lot of tit for a Disney Channel star.
Exactly. That's my thing. I think what I like the best about it too is these Disney Channel characters look like real people.
Yeah.
I kind of dug that. Even if I thought the age was a little off, like I really thought the dad character was really good. I think he's really funny. I'm not super into the actress who plays the mom, but according to That's So Raven fans, that is a good thing because she apparently disappears at some point. Not to be spoilery, but that mom sort of just gets ridden off the show at one point. But that dad character is super fucking funny and like genuine.
Stays consistent because he's on Corey in the House.
Corey in the House?
Yeah.
You don't know what Corey in the House is?
Isn't that like the best anime of all time or something?
It is, yes. He knows what it is.
I know what it is. I've never seen any of it though.
Oh. It has Jason Dolly, everyone's iconic favorite from Read It and Weep, the Disney Channel original movie.
A classic.
I don't know what that is, so you've already lost me.
I know exactly what that is. We need to do it for the podcast.
His name was Jason Dolly.
I think that's his name.
It's a strange name.
He's also on Good Luck Charlie. Is that what it's called?
Oh, yeah. I remember
Yeah,
Good Luck
he
Charlie.
was the brother on that, I think.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Oh, yeah. He was in all the Disney shows.
One of those Disney boys.
Yeah.
Never seen him before in my whole life.
He looks like every guy.
Yeah. He's like, generic blonde teenager. Got it.
Here we go.
So anyway, with the episode, so like she's mouthing off to her teacher, and then like she goes home. She's like trying to, ask Corey, her younger brother, like, what's the best way for me to handle like when I get in trouble with our parents. And he's like, give me $5 and I'll tell you. And he's like clearly this fucking like narcissistic brat who definitely like will murder people in his adult age. And it ends up not working. And she sees that like public meltdown of like none of the shit he does works. And then they start praising her like, you've been so good. And like she knows that she's about to get in so much trouble. So what does a Disney Channel character do? They somehow come across very incredible makeup and clothing design on a short notice, pretend to be a church woman level version of her mother, and go in and pretend to be her parent.
Yes.
Only could be accepted on a Disney Channel show and was super funny. Like,
has to do the whole back and forth because they're supposed to be it's supposed to be a parent teacher conference. Mm-hmm. So she's supposed to also be there. So she has to go back and forth and pretend to be the mom and go back to being herself. And there's all the antics of her almost wearing a wig.
She's sort of a fucking idiot, though.
Yeah.
And let me tell you why. all she would have had to have done to get out of this was give Mr. Percelli her own phone line, because she has her own phone line now, and just pretend to be her mother too busy to come in and have a conversation over the phone.
That's not Disney Channel logic, though.
It's only complete logic. Instead of wearing a big ass costume. And
a big ass costume, for damn sure.
And pretending that mayonnaise or whatever gave you explosive diarrhea.
That was a pretty good line.
No, it was super funny when they ran out of there and shit. It was super funny.
Cody, did you remember this episode from childhood or no?
I did. And I specifically remember the line, and it's always stuck with me when the dad's like, I knew it was you because you're
betrayed by the booty.
That went the other way.
Betrayed by the booty. We said the same thing. I was like, I've definitely fucking heard that before.
I didn't remember it.
Betrayed by the booty. I remember that line so vividly.
So good.
Jesus Christ.
I was like, that's the one line that's like really stuck with me through my entire adulthood of anything. It's like Severus Snape always and betrayed by the booty.
Did you put your name in the goblet of fire? That's the one that always sticks with me. So
I feel
Harry, did you put that name in the goblet of fire?
I mean, that's a solid one too.
That's So Raven has some iconic episodes.
Well, okay, let's go ahead and review the pilot thing. I feel like we and then we'll get into more of the show. So, Cody, the pilot.
You know, I kind of love this. It's funny. It holds up. It has everything that I wanted as a child, and it has a lot of what I wanted as an adult, and it has nostalgia factor. It's a 10 from me, dog.
Yeah, I love the whole 2003 of it. This is my favorite era of American sitcom. It's gonna get. I'd say it's a 9 out of 10.
I'm gonna be a little disappointing here.
Yeah,
but I think it's like a 7 out of 10.
That's still pretty high.
But it's still. I mean,
lower.
it's really good for what it is. I mean, it is exactly like the perfect storm of that formula that they do for like these child sitcoms. I think my biggest issue with it is the fact that it felt pretty sloppy for a pilot. You know.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
It kind of was already, and this is the thing with all these Disney Channel shows, minus Hannah Montana, apparently, is like they never like have a world building pilot. They just drop it in like it's, like slice of life, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But for a pilot, I want something a little more. Like I want you to. Like at no point does she even is there a big acknowledgement that she's even psychic other than her visions? No one in this episode says to her, "Holy shit, you're psychic," even once. Yeah. That's kind of upsetting if this is your introduction to the whole character. And then actually, this is important to mention. There are technically 2 pilots that I found that out because in different regions they aired different first episodes.
Really?
There's another episode that was done on the West Coast, and it was aired. It was something about like a smelly guy that wanted to ask her out. Both episodes were put out at the same time.
Did both episodes? But
this is considered the canon pilot as far as like if you look at the episode listing.
Okay. Did the other episodes still air everywhere or no?
Yeah, it's called Smell of Victory or some shit or Smell of something.
And then I think they aired it like episode 2 or 3 in the East Coast.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why they did that. Everything I tried to read about it, they don't have any fucking like reason to give. I mean, they literally aired within the same month.
It does feel like with a show like this, there should have been a world building pilot.
Definitely.
Or like
have an episode where like you see her as like a little girl finding out she's psychic just in a flashback. Give us 10 seconds of like her enjoying the fact that she's psychic, because in this it's more or less just like an element to foreshadow for us. She doesn't really she makes one decision based on her vision. I mean, for real. Like, there's some that happened and then it ends up coming true. But the only thing she really makes a decision on based on her vision is, like, the standing up to the teacher thing, which is okay. But we're talking about a show about a fucking psychic. Like, you could give me... And I know for a fact, because I've seen the Halloween episode, that there are episodes where the psychic element of the show is at the forefront.
Yeah.
With this, it was more of, like, a hijinks... kooky teenage, like if you remove the fact that she's psychic from this episode, it's still the same episode.
Yeah, and it's weird too because like you don't get a sense of like if her family knows.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That is a
Which
good point.
I don't remember in the show if they do or not, but like you should get that sense in the first episode.
But
I mean, we can talk about it in spoilers.
Okay, you remember that.
I do want to
That's
say
good.
this though. Eddie does know because
Yeah.
he does say it to her. Also, what's going on with the Chelsea character? Why isn't she in the pilot? Do you know?
They just didn't cast her until they went to film the rest of The Order. I don't know why. I guess they were like, oh, people aren't going to relate unless there's a kooky white girl. So I think that's why Chelsea was cast.
But don't you love her though?
I mean, yeah, I love Chelsea. She's one of my favorite characters. But I think that is the reasoning why she's not in the first episode, is they didn't like what was... they thought they needed something more, is I think what I read about it.
In other words, Disney's actually like, there's too many black people here.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Which just sucks because I thought it was really good.
Yeah, same.
Probably one of the better ones they've done. Yeah. So anyway, let's go to the spoilers. Yeah, let's do the spoilers. Okay. I want to know: is there that this is clearly one that wasn't canceled? Was there a definitive conclusion for That's So Raven?
Oh, I don't remember.
Don't know.
Nice.
Really?
Second question.
The last episode doesn't seem like a conclusion.
Yeah, I think it was, like, from what I remember, it was an assumption she went off to college, but there was never like a, oh, this is everyone saying goodbye episode.
Yeah. That's
second-
what I'm kind of looking at with the episode descriptions.
Second question. Corey in the house. Was Raven ever in the house?
No.
Not once? Not once?
No.
They couldn't get Raven Simone for a fucking episode?
No.
At the time, she was, like, done with Disney. She wanted to move on and be something different.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Those Disney people, they got a lot of money in their pockets, and they could promote the fuck out of one episode with a psychic person.
And that's why she came back and did another series.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, especially at that time, like, no offense to Raven Simone and the That's So Raven franchise, but it was a fuck of a lot hotter back when Corey in the House was on TV versus Raven's Home. I know that show isn't, like, killing it or anything.
Yeah.
In fact,
agreed.
I think it got canceled, right? Am I wrong about that, or?
I think it ran for at least 2 or 3 seasons. It might be over now, but that's just Disney formula.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Ugh.
I think it actually is still on, maybe. I'd have to look into that. I don't know.
Maybe it comes on after Bizarrevark.
I think that's been
that's
long
dead in the water.
canceled.
We had to watch Bizarrevark once in a hotel room, and it was very just ridiculous. But okay. So while you guys are figuring that out, I was watching this, and I had a teacher story to tell.
Oh, hold on, real fast.
Okay.
This was filmed in 2001, even though it aired into 2013. So she was
Wait, what aired in 2013?
or 2003.
2003.
Woo. This was filmed in 2001, so
Okay.
she would have been 16. Wow, that's crazy.
She looks like a real 16-year-old then.
Yeah.
In fact, even a little bit older, maybe.
Yeah, but anyways, continue.
I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh, about the teacher. Okay,
Yeah.
I have a story about teachers. Okay. There's this teacher, an elusive one, you could say, that I used to have back in my hometown, who has a hankering for roast beef.
I know the story.
All right, we were talking about they were talking about mean teachers when we were watching the episode, and obviously Mr. Percelli,
Yeah.
he's an asshole. We had one teacher at my old school who would have this really deep voice that was fake, and he'd sound like Shrek. He's like, "Brr, brr, brr," like just like an ogre and shit. And I had a friend who was working at Arby's in town, and apparently this teacher would go unprovokedly buy an entire roast beef from Arby's without calling ahead all the time. And we're talking about, like, when I say an entire roast beef, they come in giant sleeves of like 80 slices. It's not like they come as a whole
Okay.
beef. So we're talking about an industrial level, like you could feed an entire soup kitchen worth of people with the roast beef that he was eating by himself weekly. So what happened is, for one, they had the question like, hey, you know, like, you want to like call ahead for these? He's like, oh no, I get them on a whim. I don't like want to. And it's like, on a whim? Are you eating a fucking whole roast beef? But then what happened was he was buying so much roast beef that one location in town was running out of roast beef. And people would hate when they saw Mr. Thomas pull up, and they'd be like, oh my God, he's coming back to take all of our fucking roast beef. And it was like a thing. Like, they'd like, sound the alarm, roast beef goblins here. And it was so ridiculous. And then what they started doing was ordering extra roast beef. But then that teacher, have I said his name?
Yeah.
I did?
Yeah.
It's fine, Mr. Thomas. I'm talking about you. Sorry. Mr. Any first name Thomas. This could be fictional. This could be this is IMO. It's not real. This is fictitious. Anyway, LOL. You should have stopped me when I said that. You should have beep, beep, beep. It's fine. It's too late now. Okay. It's too deep in the story. So he would he'd go and he'd get this roast beef, and then they started ordering extra roast beef. And then he started going to the other Arby's location, and then as a result they had to start driving roast beefs to the other location in town in order to even out the amount of roast beefs, because he single-handedly was a terrorist in the roast beef department.
That's a lot of horse meat for one man to eat.
Now, the one day he came and he bought 2 roast beefs. And
What?
they said that's like everything we have, and he's like, "Oh, I'll pay extra whatever." And so they're like, "All right, whatever." So they sell him these roast beefs, and they offer him all the buns that would go with these sandwiches for free, and he declined.
It slides down easier that way.
The fact that he declined tells me everything, that this is not a meal for multiple people. He's mainlining this roast beef.
Yeah. He's not like feeding a soccer team.
I mean, he messed up the local economy of Arby's by the fact that you'd go to an Arby's all the time and they'd be out of roast beef, and people would know, fuck, he did it again.
How can you do that on a teacher's salary? Like, that must be so expensive.
And
That's probably the only groceries he's getting is this roast beef.
he was such a mean teacher that I once did a really hard and complicated report, and he gave me an F for coloring out of the lines.
Wow. You should have just brought him roast beef. That would have cured it all.
I know, if I would have known, I would have got him some roast beef. But
Did he smell like roast beef? I feel like with that much consumption, you got to start
he was
smelling like
always moist, like slightly heated lunch
Yeah.
meat, you know? He had like grease stains that were coming from his body.
I wonder if in the teacher's lounge, he just like ate his roast beef.
It's
Think
very
it's like a
nice.
diet
It's very nice of you to think that like he's only eating that roast beef and that he's not mainlining it that night.
Oh, like he's not portioning it out.
No way. He's eating. He's doing a whole beef. He has to be.
But
He
like,
has to
how
be.
often? How often?
I wanna
do you
know if
think-
it's like a
I'll
weird
I'll tell
diet.
you what my friend who worked at this Arby's and my ex who worked at the other Arby's said. Each of them, both locations would see him on average once, maybe once a week to maybe once every 2 weeks, buying an entire roast beef. I mean, we're talking about something that's so big, he'd have to open his car door in order to get it into like his car. You know what I mean? Like he couldn't just slide it through the window. It would go all the way to the other side. We're talking about 80 sandwiches worth.
That's a lot of beef.
Wow.
That's a lot
And
of
they
beef.
pack those sandwiches full too.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Did he just eat it with his hands?
I never watched him really. I would assume not.
I think he just was he single? He wasn't married, was he?
I don't know. I don't know if women would ever want to be around him.
I don't want to be around that much roast beef.
He was always very mean and like would be mean to everybody and talking this deep voice. But the best part is what I left out. People who would work the drive-thru would hear him and he'd come in like, "Hey, could I get 2 roast beefs?" Because like his voice isn't actually that deep. He's like, "I need a whole
Oh my
roast
God.
beef in this drive-thru, please." Instead of like, "Hey, I need a whole roast beef," like he sounded like at school. Anyway, sorry, that was my tangent on mean teachers just from this episode. Anyway, what are some That's So Raven things you guys want to talk about?
Raven's Home is coming back for a 5th season. That was
Wow,
nasty.
5 seasons. Disney's changed. Is it a D+
Yeah.
show only, or is it on the actual live channel?
It says coming back to TV from the announcement I read, so I think it's actually airing on Disney Channel.
Wow, is it any good? I haven't seen it.
I've watched 1 episode, so I'm not entirely sure.
Are they together?
I do know they.
Yeah.
Who?
Is it?
Chelsea and Raven, are they like together?
No. So basically.
Yes, they are.
I think
They
they're
just don't want to
both-
say it.
Okay, they just don't want to say it, but they're both quote unquote divorcees, and Chelsea has a son, and Raven has 2 kids, and Raven's son is the psychic in the family. And
I love that it's passed on.
well, we also find out in That's So Raven that it's passed on for Raven. That I think it was her grandmother was also a psychic.
Now, did Corey ever enter the house? Raven's home.
I have no idea. Probably
I don't think Kyle Massey is involved with Disney anymore.
I mean, why wouldn't he be? Is he problematic?
Well, didn't they try and kill him? They were like, they gave him cancer at one point, and he was like, I'm not dead.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there was a huge internet conspiracy, maybe 2016, that Kyle Massey had died of cancer, and he had to go on his Twitter and be like, I'm not dead, you guys.
Wow.
I really love the meme of him on Celebrity Ghost Stories, and the top comment is, Corey's not the only one in the house. Fucking the best meme ever. I don't even need to know about Corey in the house to get that. That's super funny.
That's pretty great.
It's so good. Also, your career's flopped if you're on Celebrity Ghost Stories.
Yeah.
Is there anything else, guys? I honest to God thought you guys would have so much to say about That's So Raven, and I feel like I'm just being left at the altar here.
No, I definitely love That's So Raven. The crazy thing is, I kind of feel like I remember more the later seasons because 2003 was a little early in my life for me to really watch this,
Does she ever have a strong romantic arc with anyone?
You know what? I feel like, is there?
There's one or two. I think maybe there's one that lasts a couple episodes, but most of her flirtations are like a boy she thinks is cute for an episode. Yeah. And I want to say this is why, I love That's So Raven, and episodically, it is a really great show to watch if you want to watch a Disney Channel show. However, if you're looking for a story, I don't really think it's this show, because this show is definitely slice of life. There's no overarching storyline for the most part. Sometimes there'll be a guy that's in episode 27 and he'll be in 28, but then you won't see him again. And I feel like that's kind of my problem with the show. It's why I haven't come back to it a lot, is that I like a story. And sometimes, the hijinks is fun, but I want more.
Yeah, this one definitely feels like it's trying its hardest to be funny and kids show, and that's the main thing.
Just even the episode descriptions. There's one where the new girl at school is a brilliant Russian gymnast and looks just like Raven. This guy mistakes her for Raven. This show is unapologetically ridiculous at every turn. But I feel like that's I did like it, but I feel like that's why you don't it doesn't stand out as much, because there isn't that strong central story. But a lot of the visuals stand out. I remember every scene that was in the intro, the window washing. I just can't place it. It's just a fever dream of a show. It's always a little messy.
I do
briefly.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, go on.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, I just briefly want to talk about Chelsea, because Chelsea's not in the pilot. And I feel like Chelsea is an integral character for those who are listening and they're not going to watch. Chelsea's I guess she's kind of, dumb, hippie chick. That's her whole entire thing.
She's a vegetarian, right?
Yes, that's her vibe.
Yeah, I know. I remember. Go ahead.
No, you go on.
I was gonna say, I know that I've had a few friends tell me when I talk about the show, I have to talk about the on top of spaghetti meme, where it's on top of old Okie, all covered with leaves. Apparently that's a really popular episode. And the episode is essentially a take on this hippie chick, Chelsea, trying to stop them from tearing down a tree.
I remember that. Yep. Holy shit.
I haven't really seen it myself. I haven't really sat down and watched it, but I've been told extensively that this is an important episode to talk about. Guys, what happens in the fucking episode? I don't know.
Oof.
Nobody knows.
You got me beat, because I didn't have cable. So I'm okay, I've watched some of these episodes, but like I said, I never really came to the show a lot and watched it, even though I loved it.
So I think what we're getting is That's So Raven has such a subculture about it, but none of it has to do, in my opinion, just based on what I've seen with the episodes, and more to do with Raven-Symoné.
And I feel like
I can see that.
The character of Chelsea was a cool character because, like, I don't know about, I didn't grow up around anybody that was like a vegetarian and would try to like save trees and shit, you know? Like,
That's awesome.
I grew up in Kentucky.
What's a vegetarian?
Exactly. Like that was like a crazy character. A hippie. Yeah.
I love how you're more blown away by hippie than the actual psychic.
Yeah, right? I'm just like, she doesn't eat meat.
No, we have those here.
Wow, crazy. Yeah, we have people that think they're psychics, I'm sure.
What's your guys' favorite episode of That's So Raven?
I think it's got to be the cow one.
Really? The Halloween episode?
Yeah, that's a good one.
I was going to say, yeah, I think it's the Halloween episode. There's also a good one where it's kind of like Cabin in the Woods where they're stuck in a house. That one was pretty good, but I actually really like the pilot. I think the pilot's really solid.
I was reading a little bit about this beforehand, and I did read that there's like a television psychic episode that's really popular where like she does like a psychic hotline or like she takes over for a psychic hotline.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
That one's really popular. And they're also, this was the first Disney Channel show to start doing the crossovers with other shows.
Yeah.
I don't know what it crossed over with or anything, but that was like one of the main things they pointed out was this was like
That's
the
So
first.
Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. Was that it?
Yes, I think so.
That's So Sweet Life. It should be a third thing. Isn't it always three things?
That's So Sweet.
I can't remember the other one.
That's So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my religion.
Really? Because you didn't
like
remember
that.
it 10 seconds ago.
It's now 10 plus years later, so.
There's been a lot of Minecraft, okay?
Yeah, Franny's been playing Minecraft for a little while, so.
It's been a long week.
It definitely has. Well, if you guys don't have anything else you want to say about it, we can go ahead and start the break.
What character would you say we are?
Oh, good. I would like to say that out of the ones I saw, I know who Chelsea is, so I can include that mentally because I did watch the Halloween episode.
Good.
I would say I'm Mr. Percelli. Because I crack my neck like him. I have the same hairline. Just kidding.
Oh my god.
My hairline's
Shut up.
My hairline's actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
For being, a fat Mr. Percelli looking man.
Shut up. No, you're not.
And I don't know. I liked his comebacks. Even though he was a teacher torturing these students, I really liked his sass. Like when Eddie was like, I'm gonna show him what to mess with my rep, and he's like, you have no rep to mess with. Like that's exactly the kind of shit.
You'd be that kind of teacher. You would definitely be like I'm gonna pick on everyone, even my favorites, but my favorites will know they're my favorites.
Yeah. I'm gonna bust their balls, but we're gonna be friends.
Yeah,
I'm gonna teach him that hard knock life early. So yeah, Mr. Percelli. But if I had to pick out of the main characters, I'd probably go with. I don't know. I don't know if I'm really represented because I don't see myself as Eddie at all.
I
could
they're
see
kind
you
of
being Corey.
Corey? You think I'm Corey? But am I Corey in That's a Raven or am I Corey in the house?
You're in that house, baby.
Not familiar with the house as much, but I feel like you're like a little mischievous sometimes, but you've always got a plan, and I feel like that's very Corey.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Cody, who do you think you are?
I don't know if I'm represented here. Maybe
Chelsea.
Raven.
I see Chelsea.
See Chelsea.
I see Chelsea way more than Raven. That's for sure.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Besides, like if you were to add a brain to Chelsea, because like Chelsea's thoughtful, but also goofy. Like I could see some of those elements in you, definitely. For sure.
I don't think I'm here. I don't know.
Not at all.
I think I'm the dad.
You think you're the dad?
I'm the dad.
Ooh.
The dad. Because you stick around.
I stick
unlike
around.
the mother. So.
Aww.
Why did the mother leave? Do you guys know?
I don't think. I think she's just kind of written off.
Is
she
it
gets a job somewhere else.
She
like
wasn't
something.
very good. I did note that. I didn't like the mother actress that much.
They don't say like they're divorced or anything crazy. I don't think. I think she's just like.
She literally just disappears one episode. Yeah. They never talk about it.
I think it would be fucking awesome. Got a job. You don't move away from your kids when you have a job necessarily.
I think that's how they explained it.
That's really silly. They should have just given a real life lesson and have her be a divorcee.
Yeah.
Let the dad go out and date. Wait, does the dad just stay perpetually lonely and like never go out with anyone ever again?
He doesn't have time. He lives in the White House and he's their personal chef.
Franny, people who live in the White House still have lives.
No, he doesn't leave the White House.
He doesn't leave ever?
I mean, who's got the time? That's a really far walk to get to your car, I bet.
It's funny that you think that you'd walk all the way to your car. Probably. As if you're not like driven up by Humvees to the fucking gate with armed guards. You know, you walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, you know?
What are they doing in the White House? He's a chef. That's his thing,
correct.
Right? And then that's why they moved to the White House?
Yeah.
He becomes the chef for the president, right?
Uh-huh.
And even though the president at the time of the show was black, the president on the show is white, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
I don't know. I heard the memes.
No. Because this show aired from 2003 to 2007. Barack wasn't in office.
No. Corey in the House.
Oh, Corey in the House. Yes, that's true.
And it's weird because the show is about a black gentleman who cooks for a white man in a presidential office in which at the time was not run by a white man. Interesting. True. Also, his son's there. He's also in the house.
Well, he's got to live somewhere. Their mom's off being a whore.
Being a whore? Fuck you, Mom, you whore. You gave me my own phone and then you left without even calling it once.
Well, maybe that's why Mr. Pacelli left, is because they're out boinking somewhere.
Oh my God, Mr. Pacelli is like, you're now Ms. Pacelli. Wear the donk.
Oh God.
Anyway, guys, if we could hit a break now, I think we've exhausted this. All right, guys, when we come back, we're going to come back with The Dead Zone. Hey, looking for more content? Check out Crosscut Cinema, where me, Franny, and my friends review movies. Or check out a pilot podcast where we review TV pilots with recording artist CL Blue. Or hey, check out me hanging out with my friends on Average Joe Interviews. Socials and links are in the bio. Thanks, guys.
Hey guys, it's CL. I just wanted to come on and say that I have a brand new album. It's coming out on October 22nd, and if you're hearing this, that means it's out now. It's called Scorpio. I'm super excited about it. It's something very different, very experimental for me. It's entirely just based on stories that I've written or real life experiences or people that I know. And I really hope you guys like it. It has songs Big Night In on it, and also my brand new song Scorpio, which I'm really excited about. If you are interested, you can listen to it on all streaming platforms. Wherever you get your music at, you can find it there. Thanks so much.
Scorpio, now you did it again. Playing with hearts won't make you friends.
And we're back.
I just want to say that Franny counts us in all the time, and she'll go 3, 2, and I always want to go 1, and I have to fight that instinct every time.
I don't like saying the one. I feel like the one's implied.
You're not supposed to say the one. You're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not supposed to. But that is me being an idiot, and I want to say it really bad.
Appreciate that. Okay, so.
Yeah, I'd never even heard of this show before today.
Before we even get into the Wikipedia, I think it's important to mention that this is obviously a Stephen King property. And if you know anything about The Dead Zone, it is one of the most banned books in the United States.
What?
So obviously the show at the time of it coming out, it was still banned. So this was kind of an edgier show. So keep that in mind as we review how like not edgy it is, but like kind of still is a little bit, you know? Also, we technically can't or didn't watch the pilot because the unaired pilot wasn't released until 2017. And all the unaired pilot is slightly different casts, and the episode 1 and 2 were merged together. But then they picked up on the pacing of The Dead Zone, so they redid everything, and now there's a new pilot. And the pilot that's the one we're going to review. So for people who want us to review like the original unaired pilot, that doesn't make any sense. And that's stupid. We're not going to do that because that's not what they
Yeah.
ended up putting out. Anyway, Cody, Wikipedia, go for it.
Dead Zone, also known as Stephen King's The Dead Zone, is a science fiction drama television series starring Anthony Michael Hall as Johnny Smith, a man who discovers he has developed psychic abilities after a coma. The show is based on characters from Stephen King's 1979 novel of the same name. It first aired in 2002 and was produced through Lionsgate, and it ran for 6 seasons, over 80 episodes from 2002 to 2007.
Had either of you heard of this? I know Franny didn't. Have you heard of the show before we started the review?
No, had no idea.
So this show was kind of at the 2002 to 2004. This show was pretty popular on. I think it was on USA. I think, and I remember like my dad would be watching it at our house, and like I'd go to like a friend's house, and they'd be watching it on their TV. And the reason why the intro at the beginning was done is because after episode 2, this isn't spoilers, by the way. This is just a known thing about the show. After episode 2, they wanted people to be able to pick up on the show fairly easily. They wanted to be able to drop in on it, like, other procedural psychic dramas, like, Mentalist or Psych or something like that, or Medium. But the plot is a little more, not convoluted, but more complex. So as a result, they just start every episode with Anthony Michael Hall standing in a white room reading that monologue at the beginning of every fucking episode. And I would go to friends' houses, and everybody in the household, the mom, dad, daughter, son, everybody would be saying the words verbatim. This was a huge hit when it came out. And I feel like nobody talks about it.
Yeah, I definitely didn't even hear about it.
So
Yeah, I didn't know this existed.
yeah, so in the pilot, basically you find out that when Johnny was a little kid, he slips and hits his head, and then right after that he starts developing some psychic ability, right? Mm-hmm. It's shown him growing older with this girl that he was there with, and like she's kind of like his sweet "what up, baby, give me some of that back." And and
They're both teachers.
They're both teachers. They have this like real Nicholas Sparks lifestyle where like they're both so in love with each other. And he's showing off of his psychic abilities, and she's like the only one that really knows that he's a psychic, and he's like, he's using it to like win at carnival games and like to predict what somebody's about to say or how they're feeling.
Yeah, just fun stuff. Nothing too major.
And so he's like he's going to this carnival with his lady. He's trying to get his mom to go with him. She's like, no, I'm going to hang out here with my televangelist boyfriend. And he doesn't like him because he thinks the televangelist boyfriend's trying to like snake money from her. And that night after the carnival, or the fair, or whatever you want to call it, he's about to go over to Blockbuster Video to rent some movies for them.
Wow.
Because it's like what, 1996 at this point?
An iconic date night.
Yeah, it's like 1996 or something at this point. And he ends up in a collision that causes him to go into a coma for 6 years. And as a result, there's a part of his brain that basically because of his psychic ability he already had, his brain is so powerful it's finding a way to cope with all the damage, and as a result, it's unlocked a dead zone in his mind, at which gives him insane psychic abilities, ones that are far more advanced than just seeing the future, but like being able to like sense a soul or doing other crazy shit or like being able to see someone's
like
true past or tragedy.
Yeah, he can like see through their eyes almost.
Mm-hmm. It's like a totally different thing, and this time before his psychic ability was solely based within himself, but now when he touches people at all, he sees some sort of relevant information in their lives. For instance, in the episode, there's a moment where he touches a nurse's hand when he first wakes up from the coma, and he sees her daughter burning in a building. Or when he meets his doctor, he sees the moment when his doctor was a young boy and was being airlifted out of basically like a war zone. Yeah. And it's interesting because we're so used to psychics having the ability to see the future, but he's a whole different kind. There's not a good way to explain it until you watch more of the show, but he's able to really be at the essence of a person. And I think it's a really cool concept. What did you think of the pilot, Cody?
I really like the concept. I think
It's very
feels
dated,
very
by the way.
2000.
Yeah, it's very dated.
Yeah.
I really wanted to mention that. I think I was trying to say that with saying like the whole intro where he just explains what the show is at the beginning.
Yeah.
It is very dated, very corny at times. It really feels like a CW drama in a sense. But anyway, sorry to interrupt you.
That was literally verbatim something I was about to say. It feels very dated, and it almost feels like it's from something the CW would do now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But I liked it? Question mark. There were definitely aspects of it I really liked, and I thought like the whole storyline where he's revealing to the doctor like your mom's still alive, and then he touches his like uncle's hand, and he's like seeing everything through the uncle's eyes, and he's going through and watching.
Speaking a
all of
different
these people
language.
escaping. And it was really cool. It really set up like this thing that's like, oh shit, this white dude speaking another language, and he knows what's going on in this war that like you haven't even talked to me about, because I mean that's probably a painful memory for you.
Definitely.
And I just thought it was really cool how he can go into these scenes and see everything, like when it's revealed that the girl that he was engaged to has moved on with another man, and he's like, oh, you have a kid too, I can see you have a family, because he can watch her like be with him and sees the family photos of her house. So I thought that aspect was really cool, but there's a lot of cheese in here. Like there's
Definitely.
a lot of
No,
Oh, yeah.
there's tons of corny lines.
There's corny visuals of like him being in like the
slow motion
memory.
and him being in the memories, and there's tons of corny shit like that. I mean, it kind of has Heroes energy in the way that Heroes had some of that really corny shit. But this so even more dated than that. I will say this though, as the episodes go along, the first two episodes kind of operate as like, let's explain what this character is. As the episodes go along, and I won't be into spoilers here, not yet, it becomes more slice of life, where his gift is used to interact with certain scenarios, and it's never like something as serious as like, oh, we're hunting a serial killer, oh, we're doing this. It's like, sometimes it's as serious, but there's like period piece dramas where he's like jumping into the memories of like Vietnam War vets and like their fucking spouses back in the day before the war, like really romantic, large gestures. That's an episode.
So it's really not like a police procedural?
No.
Wow, it kind of gave me the same vibe. I only
They
watched
set
the
it up
first
that way
two.
at the end.
Yeah.
There's elements of that
It
as the
reminded
show
me of
goes
Psych.
on. But like for instance, episode 3. Oh, I don't want to get into spoilers yet. I'll get into it in the spoiler stuff. But like I'll explain episodes 1 through 5, and you guys will see what I mean when I say it's like so very different.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's like I think it's cool that he does have that element of like, I'm a crime fighter, I want to do the right thing. But also like it just is exploring his life into re-entering the world. You know, because he's a man out of time in a way too. He like has been gone for 6 years, and a lot happened between 1996 and 2002.
Oh yeah.
A lot. So
Shania Twain, O.J.
Simpson, Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
We cloned a sheep, landed on the Mars.
That's
Right on
crazy.
the Mars.
Landed on the Mars, dude.
We did a lot of shit in 2002. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot that happened. 2001, you got 9/11. That was pretty big, I think. That definitely is going to make a couple
Oh
headlines.
wow.
Mm-hmm. Tons of shit happened. Fucking, I think The Waterboy happened in that period of time. Great movie. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, Franny, what was your overall thoughts on the pilot?
I thought the show was like, I'm interested to hear and watch about like where the show goes, because it just reminded me of Psych, but if it was made in 2003.
And if it was really serious?
Yeah.
Or trying to be a little more serious?
Or trying to be serious. I like the corniness of it though.
I appreciate the way they did visions in this.
Yeah.
Where like he was always like incorporating himself in some way, or like being like a spectator or just physically in himself. I love how the rules, they're early on telling you like, don't try to define the rules of what his powers are, because he doesn't know.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because of course he's not going to know how to control them or like what they really mean right now. He's just now developing them.
Did you watch episode 2, Cody, or did you just watch episode 1?
No, I only watched the pilot.
Okay, cool. So like you kind of we're gonna get into it then because Franny watched episode 2 and I know she has a lot to say about it. If you were to like the thing I want to say about this show too is that the concept is so good. I always think, well, what if we were to remake it? If you were to remake it, who would you cast?
I could have anyone, any budget.
Anyone, any budget.
Because part of me wants to go the obvious and thinks like a Benedict Cumberbatch, someone who's very like scientific, someone who's non-emotional.
I'd want to go with someone
could also
younger.
Play the emotional side, and that was literally what I was about to say. But I almost feel like you want someone younger because I don't know why. I just feel like maybe that's the reason why I didn't relate as much to the actual character is because I'm like, okay, you're older.
Yeah, and the thing is, you're already adding 6 years, so like, who can you age up and age down effectively? I'd go with somebody if I was like trying to make like the weirdest Dead Zone I could, but like still really good. I would think somebody like me, like Dacre Montgomery, would be a good lead character because he's really good at aging up and down, and I feel like he could totally do that smoldering like leather jacket face thing that he had going on.
But you got to be an insanely good actor, dude.
Yeah, that's it, because it's so campy that you have to be a good actor. It's going to come off like total garbage.
Especially when he's like literally like doing the voices of like the people that
he's like channeling and shit. Yeah, definitely. Like you have to be. And I think that he's a good actor though. I mean, you think about Stranger Things, Power Rangers. He's good at like being these like obvious, like bigger characters. I would love to see him do something that's more cerebral. Because I know he's a good actor. I've seen Better Watch Out. I've seen him like completely transform.
Oh.
And I feel like also that would attract a lot of people because he's a star that's kind of been like blowing up, but not at the same time. Like I could afford him and people would still be excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, and I would say like,
who would you get as the love interest?
Oh, that's tough. Maybe like,
because I'm sorry, but that actress was super cringy. I think she was the worst part of the show for me.
She gets better. She does. The pilot itself, like the first 2 episodes, are like very different because, for one, they were reshot, and 2, there's a long distance of time between episode 2 and episode 3. Huh. So like, I feel like they had time to have like the feedback of like, you are too stiff. You need to like loosen up a little bit and like.
Yeah, she is better in the second episode.
But even the second episode was shot at the same time as the first. I mean, the third episode is when there's been a long period of time.
Oh, okay.
In between. Because the first and second episode were one pilot originally.
Wow, holy shit.
Mm-hmm. I said that earlier, but you probably didn't hear me.
Yeah, I think I didn't catch it.
As for
that's a long-ass pilot. That's like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Well, I think they like cut and blended things together, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they spaced things out. I don't think that the doctor side plot was even in the original pilot, Unearned Pilot, but it might have been. So don't.
That was the best part of the episode.
Me, I thought so too, and there's a lot of that going forward. What was I going to say?
So yeah, your actress. Who would you cast?
I like. Is it Ana de Armas or Emma de Armas? How do you pronounce her name? The chick from Knives Out would be good. I like her a lot. You could be really weird and do like Chloe Grace Moretz. Give her like a more mature role because she's basically been like typecast as like teenager insert here forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one because I think it'd be easier to cast the sheriff first because what really that character is like a middle line of those 2 brooding characters. So, like, I think I'd have to think about who the sheriff is, and then I could figure out who the girl could be.
If he could somehow be the same age as, like, Dacre Montgomery, I would say the guy that played in The Walking Dead, you know the one. The bad guy from season 1.
You talking about from season 1? Are you talking about John Bernthal?
No, I'm talking about, like, the guy that was in their camp that, like, slept with his wife.
John Bernthal.
Is that... Okay, I thought you were going to say the character's name.
Oh, you're talking about Shane.
Yeah, because I wouldn't know the actor's name.
Shane is definitely like way older.
I know, but if he could somehow be the same age, that'd be perfect casting.
I would go with, you know what you could do? Like legit, You could take the other gentleman from Power Rangers, the Blue Ranger, and just like rough him up a little bit because that dude's a fucking actor, bro. He's a great actor.
R.J. Kyler's great.
Yeah. I would say him.
How did he get on screen? That made no sense.
Or like maybe who somebody could be like that rough exterior. Who is that right now in like acting? Like who has that role locked down? I don't know if anybody does. I feel like the brooding actor is kind of like a thing of the past, so it's hard to do. You gotta make them a brooding in a different way. Maybe like Keith Stanfield.
The only one I can really come up with is like Sebastian Stan.
I would do
Like I feel like he does brooding really well.
Lakeith Stanfield's my choice. That's who I pick. If you've
I don't know
ever
who that is.
if you've ever seen I mean he's been in a bunch of stuff. If you ever saw the Death Note movie, or he was also in Knives Out too. He was the other cop.
Yeah, that's a good casting.
I feel like nowadays, with the idea of like a sheriff and like a detective type, isn't like the big brooding person anymore. You have to evolve with the times.
Yeah.
So it would be somebody more sleek, more intellectual. I honestly think that the better version of that sheriff character now would be someone who's smarter than Johnny.
Yeah, flip it
I
a
could
little
almost see
bit.
Dacre Montgomery as the sheriff, if I'm honest.
Just flip
I
the
feel like
roles.
he can pull that off too.
Just flip
Yeah.
them. And as for the girl, I just think it's a little difficult. You need somebody with that energy that you could be like, okay, I could see her feasibly being in love with both of them.
Yeah.
Because they are totally different characters, and that's why she's kind of a Mary Sue in some ways early on, because she has to be appealing to these two opposite beasts, even though they try to write them in like they're so similar of lighting. It's not true.
When they both is that episode 2
Episode 2.
spoilers? Fuck.
There is one actress I want to say that I think could pull it off, and it's because you mentioned Chloe Grace Moretz. She used to do a lot of young adult stuff, and it's Amanda Steinberg. I think that's her name.
Never heard
And
of her.
she was Rue in the Hunger Games. And
Oh,
she was in,
yeah, I know
think,
her.
This
She
Hate
did-
You Give.
She did another one of those YA movies. I can't remember what it's called. She did another YA movie, like not Hunger Games, but like yet another one, and I can't remember it. It was terrible. I was working at Family Video at the time. People were bringing it back like, this is trash. Like so angry.
I will say, I feel like she plays conflicted really well, so I think that would be a really interesting role for her.
Definitely. It's a tough spot to cast in general because, like I said, that character has to somehow not be annoying, but yet again, kind of be writing on the lines of having two boyfriends herself, you know? Like, that's a hard character to get to be likable in general. Because you're like, oh my gosh, you have so much. Why not just be grateful for what you have? Like, that's always like the consistent inner monologue of people watching the show. So as a result, she has to be so fucking likable, or you're just gonna hate when she's on screen.
Well, I feel like she's cast well in the show.
It gets better for her.
It gets better. I'm excited to keep watching. I didn't think I'd give a fuck about this show, honestly.
So who do you think you are in the show, Franny? This is a dangerous one. Maybe we shouldn't do this.
Yeah, I feel like this isn't one that.
Yeah, it just
You
doesn't
should
seem like
do.
there's just not enough definitive characters either in this, especially in this pilot.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And it's not
All
a
right.
fun one to do either.
So we're moving on to fuck, marry, kill. We're bringing it back, baby. Who would
Hell
you fuck?
yeah.
Who would you marry? Who would you kill?
Oh my god. I would definitely. I would kill the sheriff husband guy. Annoying. I would marry I would marry Johnny.
Wow, a guy who you can keep no secrets from.
Well, he's rich.
That's true. He is rich.
And he's nice to look
When
at.
you want to marry in that situation, why not marry the televangelist guy?
No, ew.
You're like, but Johnny's hot.
No, scratch that. Kill the televangelist guy. Marry Johnny. And then fuck the sheriff just once.
Just once,
Yeah.
just to see if he's got
Mine's
any
the
grit.
exact same as Franny.
Wow. Okay.
And for the exact same reasoning, too.
Great minds.
I'd kill the kid because Johnny's being tied down to this life because the kid's there, so I just eliminate that situation.
Oh God.
He doesn't even like him. He's an asshole.
The kid?
Yeah, he's a fucking
You
asshole.
just hate children, let's be fair.
That kid doesn't like him just for having a cane. You don't think that's fucked up?
I don't
Maybe.
I
I don't
don't
know.
think that's evident in the pilot. so I
Yes,
don't
it
know if
is.
that's
He
for
goes,
sure.
"Can we leave now, mommy?" That's in the pilot.
Well, he just
Well,
doesn't
I
like
took
his
that to mean, like,
vibe.
ew, grown up. I don't care about this.
Yeah.
No, he was definitely nervous.
Yeah, because a grown up just got in his face.
Didn't get in his face.
He like got down and tried to
No,
level with
he
him
saw
right away.
he saw a man with a cane lean over and start talking to him, and he's like, "Ew, mommy, poor people."
I don't know. I didn't get that vibe. I got
Or
the vibe
ew-
that
or
like the kid
actually
just
not
like
poor
didn't give
people.
a fuck.
Either.
Ew, mommy, this guy's weird.
Well,
But
it's
you
just
ha-
weird, and I didn't get that vibe at all. I think you're inferring that onto this child.
Well, no, I mean it's clearly revealed as we move further on,
Oh.
but it is reflected in the pilot when he acts that way.
I kind of got the same vibe as Cody from that. I think I was just
Also,
trying not to hate the kid.
Did you like the circularism of the kid being in the tree, just like at the end, just like the beginning of the episode where Johnny was in the tree?
Art.
Artistic.
Artistic.
Cody, what did you think about the little twist ending at the end?
Sorry, you cut out. I did not hear that.
I said, Cody, what did you think about the twist ending at the end of the pilot?
The twist ending, I liked. It was like, I don't know. That's why I kind of thought it was a police drama. I was like, okay, they're setting up a serial killer, and they like talked about it earlier in the episode. So the fact that it's not, I don't know. I'm kind of like, is that just a waste of a cliffhanger? They just did a cliffhanger to have a cliffhanger.
No, it was not a way. It definitely plays into it, I think. I
Yeah.
mean, we'll get into all that. Who do you? Okay, if you had to pick one of these characters that you had seen to be the serial killer, who would you guess it was?
I mean, I'm gonna say maybe the guy who drove him back, who was helping him through rehab, because I feel like that's a little unexpected. It's a little juicy. You're just like, oh, that's sad. Okay.
Incorrect, but I like the guess.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and rate this pilot, and then we'll get into the spoilers.
This pilot genuinely surprised me in a very positive way. I did not think I would really care about this show at all. I started it like this morning for a few minutes and watched like the beginning of it and was not fucking feeling it. I'd say you got to watch like 10 minutes of this one.
I think
before
you should watch the first 2 episodes
Yeah.
and then be like, okay, is this worth my time?
But
Because,
after
you know.
watching the first 2 episodes, and even after just watching the first episode, just rating the first episode alone, obviously, because that's what we do, I would give it like an 8.5.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Cody?
I'm gonna go with like a 6.5, and I think I haven't watched the second episode, so I don't entirely know for sure if I'm gonna feel the same way. But when I first turned it on, I was also like, I don't think this is for me. It's kind of like too kitschy for me to enjoy it, and then I liked it more as it went on, but I don't know if it was enough for me to actually want to go back and watch it.
If you were thinking about like ever jumping back in, like you can pretty like I can say like if you just want to watch like a random episode, just jump onto the 3rd episode because then you'll see that it's not like a police procedural, you know? It's like something completely different. And then you can kind of make your decision based on that. But I would say for the pilot, I'm going to give the pilot a 7, but I rate the rest of the show much higher, just like to say that up front. Okay, spoiler talk. Let's get into episode 2. Frani.
Wow, a lot of
Who's the killer?
spoilers.
Who's the killer?
It's
Don't-
the
just tell me now.
fucking
Who's the killer?
It's the cop's partner, like the sheriff's partner.
Like the one, like you see him for like 10 seconds in the first episode where they're
I was
like,
gonna say I don't even remember him.
and basically the whole episode 2, Johnny's like going to the police station being like, my friend who helped me at the hospital is going to get murdered by the serial killer. And the whole time, this police officer's acting weird about him being psychic, but what you come to realize is he's acting scared because he thinks this dude's onto him.
yeah.
And there's like a great reveal in this creepy ass house he lives in with his mother. His mother's like a crazy person who's been like mutilating him and like treating him badly. And he basically kills like for her amusement as well. Like she loves hearing about how he kills people and stuff. So Johnny's like, you're fucked up, lady. and calls her out on like, you're a menace to society, you crazy bitch. And she tries to stab him, and the fucking wife's the husband, the cop guy, shoots her to save Johnny's life, which is like a big moment.
Yeah.
But then there's this great scene where he goes, go back out to the car to call for help. They didn't know that the cop was in the house too. They just came over to the house to like look for evidence, but the cop was hiding in the basement.
Yeah.
Like the bad one, the serial killer one. And he goes, Johnny, go call for help, because all they knew was that they just shot the mother and she's dead now, and they think they're emptying the house. They go call for help on the radio. And he has a vision that if he doesn't go back inside and help the police officer save himself from the serial killer, that he'll die, and then his chick will be widowed, get back with him, and they'll live happily ever after. He has a vision of that vividly, a true vision. But because Johnny's a good guy, and it's like this big moment where you're thinking like, oh my God, is he going to let him die?
There's definitely a hesitation.
Like he hesitates because he's like, my whole life will be fixed if I just let him die.
Yeah.
But he goes in and saves him.
To a dude that's been an asshole.
To a dude that's been an
time.
asshole to him and is fucking the love of his life.
Yeah, and is raising his child
Yeah.
as his own.
Save that dude's life. So then at that point, like the news is starting to pick up on Johnny. People are starting to find out that there's a psychic in town. Hoodly doodly doop. And at that point in the third episode, is there anything you guys want to say about the second episode? Because I'm just going to go through the first 5 to give an idea of how drastically it changes.
I really like the reveal of her having a family. Is that in the first episode? Or the second episode?
That's the first episode where he's
Oh,
out with her in
wow.
the garden.
Okay, I feel like that just the first episodes blend together very nicely.
They really, you could tell that they were meant to be one
Yeah.
thing. You could tell. They're just so like cohesive and like attached.
Oh, but it does. The second episode does a thing where it's trying to like draw them as similar, like the
they go
Johnny and the cop guy.
Yeah, Johnny and the cop go out to breakfast with them, and they like order the same meals, and it's revealed that the cop actually hooked up with Johnny's girl while they were mourning, in the hospital. Like he was mourning the death of his grandmother, and she was mourning her, fiance being in a coma, and so like that's what they bonded over, was their trauma over him. Like they bonded over him. And he makes the great line of like, yeah, hospital's great place to pick up singles. Like he calls him out on it. He's like, nice job, asshole. It's incredible.
Love that.
Okay, so anything else about the second episode though? Other than the fact that it's just really good. Like they find out more things about his powers. The guy who's his physical therapist is kind of like his partner. He's like helping him figure things out. And they figure out like he has that premonition of that girl dying, but she doesn't end up dying. But the reason is because they were calling her now. And so she ran away from the killer. Like she ran in the house and she never noticed the killer. So she was never murdered. Like the killer only kills in the rain.
Yeah.
They like get rid of the evidence, and she ran inside because they were calling her. So he missed her. And so all these people are like, you're fake. She's alive. She wasn't going to die. But in reality, they found out that his visions aren't always entirely accurate. If they act on things involving the visions, they can change. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was not expected that was going to be the case, because I feel like a lot of the times, like with Psych, for example,
Or That's So Raven.
he's not even actually
That's So
psychic, but
With That's So Raven, her visions almost always come true, just not in the
Yeah.
way that you anticipate.
yeah.
With this, he has whole ass visions that might not happen because he himself is intervening.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of cool shit with that.
It's cool because it makes time feel very non-linear.
Mm-hmm. And like when he finds out that because he saved that girl, that serial killer went out and killed another person, he like felt all this guilt. Like you change one thing, you change the whole world. It's like that woman is dead because of me.
Yeah, but like his friend, the physical therapist, said, like, you didn't take that life. Like that guy decided that night that somebody was gonna die.
And it's like, it's not your fault that like you saved your friend and someone else was hurt. Like,
yeah.
And he's already feeling all this guilt over his power because of it.
Ooh, and there's a spicy scene in this. So
Oh yeah, I remember
so
that.
Sarah's the girl's name, right?
Sarah, yeah, I think
Sarah,
so.
Johnny goes over to see Sarah comes over to see Johnny after like his name is like smeared in the fucking newspapers, because like everybody thinks he predicted the shit wrong, but like the serial killer ended up killing somebody else. And Sarah comes over because she's like, oh, like, you need a friend, blah, blah, blah. And when he hugs Sarah, he has a vision of them hooking up.
In that moment, like
In that moment.
he had a vision that if he leans in for the kiss, they're going to fuck right there on the table.
Yeah.
And he decides, like, I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't take advantage of this moment. So he, like, stops her.
And, like,
But, like,
basically is like, you need to leave.
You know for a fact that she is still all in. Like, she wants him so bad still. And it's crazy. And it's, like, super spicy. Like, they were literally fucking. And then, like, he snaps out of the vision and he's like, I think we need to spend some time apart. Like, for you, it's been 6 years. But for me, it's been, like, a couple of days.
Yeah.
But, like, he knows that if he wanted to go in for it, he could. But he's choosing not to do that.
Yeah, and he's like, maybe next time we hang out in public. It was just gut wrenching too, because like he wants it so bad, you know, like they were supposed to be married with that kid, and like that was supposed to be their life.
Yeah, and he even makes a comment where they're like, nice family. He's like, yeah, it's someone else's. Like, it's like it's so tragic. Okay, episode 3. So you know that he's a teacher, right? Like you already knew all that. So the school is hiring him back. And, like, the PTA is like, what the fuck? You're going to hire a psychic? Are you high on drugs? And there's only one teaching job for him, and it's not necessarily a teaching job. He'd be a sub, but he'd also be the hockey coach, and he loves hockey.
Yeah.
So he's the hockey coach, and the guy who plays Francis and Malcolm in the Middle is in this episode. And he comes up. Do you care if I spoil this? Because there's
fine.
obviously
we
more.
We can still watch it.
Yeah, there's also still way more episodes.
Yeah. I'll be all right with a few spoilers.
But I'm saying this to show you guys the level of difference between episodes. So he's coaching this kid in hockey, and he's like teaching him all this great stuff. And then he falls on the ground, and he picks him up, and all he gets is a vision of him zooming inside of the kid's body and seeing his heart pumping. And he doesn't know what that means, because the visions are never like, you know, you don't know exactly what every vision means. But all he knows is that he basically had this vision where he saw into this dude's body and saw his heart. So him being the coach, he's like all worried, like, hey, you know, I want you to go to the doctor. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. And everybody's like, what are you fucking talking about? Nobody believes in your psychic bullshit. But they take him to the doctor. He gets all these heart tests done, and there's nothing wrong with him multiple times over. But then finally, like, this kid's playing in this hockey match for like a college like scout. And Johnny's like, you shouldn't play. I literally just had, and he has a vision right before like the game. It's like, I see you fall to the ice and die from some sort of heart attack. And he's like, but I've gotten all my medical stuff done. They say there's nothing wrong with me. He's like, I had a vision. I believe it to be true. And he's like, you can't make me not play. So they're playing out there and everything. And the main coach, because there's 2 coaches, the main coach is belligerent and angry because it's a really tight game and the ref's being shitty. So he gets forced out of the game. So Johnny takes over as the main coach, and he pulls him out of the game, and they lose.
Fuck yeah.
The whole audience starts throwing popcorn at him, starts trying to fight him. They slash his tires. They say they're going to kill him. And then when they get back to the car, the kid's like all pissed off, like, I can't believe Johnny ruined my high school career. He was like also a good substitute. Like, all the kids liked him before this. He's like a very good teacher. Yeah. And everybody knows that he's psychic, so he like plays with that joke. And there's this great scene too where he's talking to one kid who's like trying to get out of like like he said his like homework is like fucked up, like his dog ate his homework or some shit. But he touches him, and the kid's explaining to him like this false lie, but he's seeing the vision of what the kid was actually doing last night, and he's dancing and holding a beer in a bar. But he's like, the reason I don't have my homework is because my dog, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, maybe you should lay off the cigars and beer, kid. And he's like, what the fuck,
amazing.
Are you psychic? It's a great scene. He's like, by the way, not the best dancer. And anyway, so back to the ice rink thing, or the hockey thing. So the kid who got pulled out of the game, the kid whose college career is ruined, gets back into the car with his parents. His parents are talking about not only getting this dude fired, but getting him sued. And then right as they're all talking about it, this dude falls unconscious. They go to the hospital. They find out that there was a like spastic like infection in his heart, and that if he would have performed at the game, he would have definitely died, and that Johnny saved his life.
Holy shit.
But the PTA still forces him out from being a teacher, and he's no longer allowed to teach there. So that's episode 3.
After he fucking saved a kid's life.
Do you see how that's not a cop procedural?
Yeah, it's not.
Okay.
It makes me like the show more.
They could have chosen something. Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like I would have enjoyed it a lot more if it was like that. I just feel like maybe they should have held the serial killer thing off for a little bit. That feels like a mid-season story.
Yeah, it does feel kind of like they should have done. I think the reason why they did that is they wanted to establish like an understanding.
They wanted the cop guy to be involved with his life.
And to have an understanding with Johnny too, to like for them not to just fucking hate each other all the time.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys want me to get into the next spicy episode a little bit, or do you guys want me to hold it off?
I think I kind of want you to hold it off.
Oh,
I don't. It's like I kind of want to watch it now.
If you guys are gonna watch it, watch episode 4. It's super, super strange. It's very Agent Carter meets like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something really dramatic, like a Gossip Girl kind of thing. Like it's very romance heavy.
Yeah, don't spoil it then.
Okay, and then the 5th one also is like the one that I wanted to mention. It's because it's kind of a cop procedural, but it's a little bit different. So what I'd say is like if you're not solid on the show, jump around these 5 episodes because I feel like they kind of give you the full spectrum of what's available, at least in the first season. But there's tons of that. Like they definitely do not make it a strict, this is a cop procedure show. Like that is not at all what it is. At all. I don't even think he technically at any point in the first season, I could be wrong, even works for the police professionally. Just other things happen.
Okay.
So yeah, like, you know, check out those episodes. Also, there is one episode of the show, and I think it's in like season 2. It's a Breaking and Entering episode. This episode was nominated for a Primetime Emmy and is considered to be the best episode of the show. And I feel like that episode alone, like a standalone, you can watch it now that you understand the rules of the universe, and you can genuinely enjoy it. I think it's like an actually good, tense fucking episode that isn't corny at all. Very high stakes and very scary. If you like that kind of thing. So anyway, I'll give the overall show an 8.5.
Wow, okay. I'm excited to watch the show.
Yeah, same.
I'm glad it's one you can kind of jump around into.
Yeah, once you get that first episode down, at least you can jump through episodes in the season. Like if there's one that like isn't vibing with you, you're like, oh, this is too this way or that way. You can be like, let's skip it because that's what they wanted you to do. They wanted you to be able to jump on at any point. That's why there's that corny ass intro that I did at the beginning of every episode.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I like that. I actually like that.
It's attainable.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when like you had to watch everything, just whatever was on the TV.
Yeah.
Know?
And, you know, a lot of the time, I mean, I definitely didn't watch this. I mean, there is an overarching story, obviously, but I didn't watch this in order when I saw it. I would see it whenever it was on TV, whenever my dad got the DVD copies from the video store, because people loved the show. And also, because of the time differences, you'll also see a drastic change in literal video quality from season to season. Because that, from 2002 to 2006, every year a camera was different.
Yeah, Gilmore Girls is a prime example of that.
Like the last season of the Dead Zone clearly is going to look better than the first season. Whether it actually is better or not is obviously up to whoever wants to watch it. But yeah, I big recommend. I think it's a really fun show. I like the tie-in that we had with these psychics. Eventually, I want to do Psych and The Mentalist together because they're the non-psychic shows. And I've been watching a lot of that lately too, just as like, you know, easy TV to. That's what it really is. Actually, at its baseline, this is a show with a story, but that also is so easily digestible.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I'm excited. It's almost kind of like That's So Raven and the fact that it's episodic, but at least there's like a story here.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is. Like, you could totally watch episode 4 without watching episode 3, or you could totally watch episode 5 without seeing episode 2. Like, you can totally jump around.
I love that.
All right, cool. I think that's,
we got stuff to plug.
Yeah. What'd you say?
I said I have a new show to watch. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Hell
I
yeah.
think you'll like it. Watch episode 3. Like, even though I've already kind of explained it to you, like or actually no, fuck that. Watch episode 4. Since I didn't say anything about it, I think you'll like it.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds like a deal.
Great. I think it's called Enigma or something, something or other. All right, cool. Yeah, let's plug some stuff, Franny.
Yeah, Logan and I have another podcast that we're on with our friends Madison and Bridget, where we talk about movies.
We just reviewed Dragon Ball Z: The Dead Zone, unrelated, but you
Yeah.
can check out that review.
Wow.
Wow,
Yeah.
that really is totally. I didn't
That's
even realize
funny.
that. Wow,
Um,
unrelated entirely.
I know when you said like we're doing the Dead Zone for this, I like got a little confused, honestly. So that's called Crosscut Cinema. You can get it at youtube.com/Crosscut Cinema.
Or you can check out my personal channel, youtube.com/Logan Tyler, where you get extra clips, shit like that, good stuff. You know what's up.
And then for this podcast, we are youtube.com/A Pilot Podcast. You can find us on Apple, Spotify,
Podbean,
pretty much any
wherever
fucking thing.
you get your podcast.
Anchor. Don't
Anchor.
forget to like, subscribe, tell us we're pretty.
Comment,
Yes.
mean or nice. We love them both. And Cody?
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. I make new videos every Saturday. I'm like tantalizingly close to that 100 subscribers to get my own name. So please
Sir,
subscribe.
you have
That would be
2
very-
YouTube channels.
I do. I also have a Taylor Swift podcast called Marvelous Tunes with my friend Kayla. And I have an album. It's called Scorpio. It's out on all streaming platforms. Go listen to it, please. And thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Crispy-Miss. Oh, and we'll also, of course, guys, look out for our Christmas episode. We try to do them. We try to keep the holiday ones going. We're not going to do Thanksgiving. Obviously, it's past, but we're probably not going to do that one again unless people really ask for it. But yeah, and also on January, I think 25th, you can check out both channels for our Opposite Day special, where the cast of Crosscut Cinema will be reviewing TV shows on a pilot podcast, and the cast of a pilot podcast will be on Crosscut Cinema reviewing, I believe, Pokemon, the first movie, and Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Is that right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
believe so.
So, guys, look out for that. For the Opposite Day.
Hell yeah. All right,
All right,
guys.
kids.
It's been real.
Keep it real.
Peace.